Yay, I'm so excited. It's been recorded, so now anybody can call back in and listen, or you can send it out to your downline and encourage them to call back in and listen to get for a happy or something. And I just want to officially just tell Kim how much we appreciate her. Brand new Four Diamond Designer, just got back from the Four Diamond Designer retreat, and it was so much fun, y'all. When we went to North Carolina this year, we did swap training. And, one of the neatest things about Premier is just the friends and the people you get to hang out with, and we got to hang out with them all day at the beach. And I was so excited about her suggestions and things that's working really well for her, and I'm not going to take a lot of time. The only other thing I wanted to say, just in way of announcement, is if you didn't get the word somehow that we're wearing pink, I still am getting questions, emails. Everybody in the Breakstone Downline is wearing hot pink or pink and black at Rally. So just help me pass that along. And Kim, we just love you, and I have already put into practice some of the things you're doing. It's working so well for me. So you go for it, and I told her to take as much time as she'd like to, and if anybody needs to get off, they can just jump off. And Kim, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Diane. I just want to thank you for having me on here because I don't feel like I'm anything that Diane is making this out to be, but a lot of the things that I am doing, it's just working really great for us right now, and I'm really excited that she swapped trainings because Ray and I really enjoyed getting to know her and Richard and that whole Wilmington group because that was just an incredible group down there. Well, I'm going to start because Diane asked me to share a little bit about my testimony, and I'm not going to share the whole thing, but I do want anyone who's listening on this call, I'm hoping that it will encourage you because 6 years ago I was going to quit my Premier business. I've been in for 13 years, and my husband and I have 5 children. And it wasn't that I didn't love Premier, and it wasn't that Premier didn't work. It was just that we had gone through a 3-year custody battle with his ex-wife, and at the end of 3 years, we did win full, complete custody of his 2 boys that are twins, Ty and Colton. But we were just exhausted. And during that 3-year ordeal, which we thought would take about 8 months, we literally were just upside down financially. And I was tired, and when you get tired and you're distracted and life happens, you tend to not do as much with shows and you don't sponsor as much. So I had gone from my first 3 years in Premier having about 60 girls in my downline to having only 4. I had gone from doing about 70 to 80 shows a year to doing about 20. And I was just really at a place where I thought, wow, when I started this business, 6-7 years ago, I was at a pretty good place, and now all these people that I used to see on these designer trips are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 diamond designers, and I was down to 4 jewelers, and 2 of them were working, and my commission check was $60. And I just thought, you know what, I'm not doing any better than this far into my Premier business. I should probably quit and go into something else. So I started taking lending classes, and I was going to go into lending and real estate because 6 years ago that was a really good thing to be into. We all know how that turned out later, so God definitely had a different plan for me. But my best friend who I had been talking to about Premier contacted me in November, and I was going to quit my business. I did a few shows, and she said, Kim, I'm ready. And I said, for what? And she said, to sign up in Premier. And I said, well, that's great, Danielle, but why? And she said, she said, my husband told me today that I needed to get a hobby because he goes hunting every November. So I decided that you always talk about a hobby costs you money, but Premier is a business that makes you money. If I'm going to get a hobby, I want one that's going to make me money, and I'm going to have fun, so I'm ready to sell Premier jewelry. And I said, that's awesome. So that was kind of a boost in my business in November. But I thought, 5 jewelers is good, but I'm still not even a designer. I'm just going to take her to Rally in January to make sure she gets a really good start in her business before I quit, because my intention was still that when my renewal came due in March that I was not going to renew in Premier. And I went to that regional rally, and to make a long story short, every person that spoke at that rally would say a scripture verse that was something that really affected me. It was something that just really spoke to me, and by the end of rally, I felt like God had hit me upside the head with a cinder block because I don't tend to listen very carefully. sometimes. And I came home, and Ray, my husband, knew that I was going to quit my premier business and I wasn't going to renew. But I came home from Raleigh, and I said, this is where God wants me to be. I'm going to work it, and he's going to bless it. Now, I had no shows on my calendar, none, zero. It was January, and I was just really out of business. And I got on the phone and I called, it must have been 50 or 60 people, and I got a lot of no's, and I got a lot of people that didn't even remember that I had ever done a jewelry show for them. And I thought, wow, I do not ever want to be the jewelry lady again that people do not remember. I can't believe you can come into somebody's home, even if it had been a long time, and them just not even remember. So it was really tough, and it was very humbling for me to have to get on the phone and call and get bookings. But I want you to understand that we were not hundreds of dollars behind each month. We were thousands. And my parents begged us to file bankruptcy, and my husband refused. And I begged him to file bankruptcy, and he refused. But he looked at me, and he said, Kim, I can't make any more money. And I thought, well, I have Premier, I guess I can. And I did 8 shows. I ended up with 8 bookings after I called a stupid number of people, 50, 60 people. So you can do the math on how many no's that was to get 8 shows. But I got 8 shows, and I did those 8 shows, and I made $2,000. And it was just like I told him, I worked it, and God blessed it. And my attitude changed from looking at building a business to make money to it completely changed me, and I thought there's got to be other people out here that need this business. I just want to talk to everybody I can that might need Premier. So I had this new jeweler, Danielle, who is my best friend. I sponsored another jeweler out of those 8 hostesses that month. So I had 2 new jewelers, and we all know that new jewelers are excited, and that's what helps build our business. And keep in mind, we were still not paying our bills. But $2,000 had definitely put us that month in a different position. And I told my husband that we were going to have a huge OP at our house, and that any of our jewelers who got 7 people to come, we were going to buy them the Hood and House software program. And he looked at me. He said, you're crazy. We can't even pay our bills, and you're going to buy a software program? And I said, yeah, it'll be worth it if people show up, if they can get people to come listen, because I'm so excited. And we had 28 people show up to that OP, and only 4 of our jewelers participated in bringing people. We did buy 2 software packages, but we added 10 jewelers over the next 3 weeks to our Premier business. And we literally had 17 jewelers within 45 days of me deciding not to quit my Premier business. And from there, I tell people all the time, I cannot ever explain the power of enthusiasm, because when you get excited about your business and your jewelers see it and they get excited, they just follow your lead. They just do whatever you tell them. They don't know any better. It's crazy. It's like your children when they're little and they actually listen to you. I love it. So that's really where we kind of got started, and then the momentum just built, and from there, we promoted to 1 diamond that year. So we promoted back to designer. We promoted to 1 diamond that year. The next year we promoted to 2 diamond, but we lost the designer and we went back to 1 diamond. The next year we promoted back to 2 diamond and then to 3 diamond. And then last year in February, Elizabeth Draper called me and she said, Kim, what's your dream? And I said, I have no idea. You're going to pay off all my debt, Elizabeth? And she laughed at me and she said, what's your other dream? I said, I don't know. She said, where would you like to go if there was a trip? And I said, Hawaii. And she said, yeah, Premier's going to do a trip to Hawaii, but you have to be a senior leader. And I just thought, you know what, I'm so close. I'm going to do whatever I can. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, I'm totally going to be okay with that, but I'm going to do everything I can. And we just worked really hard with a group of our jewelers, and we promoted 3 of our jewelers to designers in about 90 days. And of those 3, only 1 of them had sponsored more than 1 jeweler. So we just worked really hard, and we're still working really hard, and we're still trying to pray that God shows us the people that we need to work with, and that's what we're doing. So that's kind of our story and how we rebuilt it. So if there's anybody on the call today that's thinking, wow, I've been doing this for a while, and I'm not doing any better than I am, I should probably quit, let me just encourage you, please don't quit. Please just do not quit. Go to Raleigh in July and let God speak to you, but just don't quit. So that's just a little bit about how we have gotten to where we are now. And one of the things that I trained on with Diane that has been working incredible for us is my jewelers have nicknamed it my booking boot camp. And it's really simple, but I learned that whenever I would do a book-a-thon, a lot of my jewelers wouldn't come because they felt like they had to bring a list of 20 to 25 names because that's what we would tell them to do. And they would say, oh, I've already called everybody. I've called my hostesses, my cancellations, I've called my friends. So I just started saying, you know what, bring your cell phone, bring your calendar, and bring a notepad. And I've done this in group settings, and I've done it one-on-one with my jewelers, and it is working incredibly. We have the least amount of bookings that anyone has gotten with us doing this is 7, and the most that anyone has gotten is 21. So, and every month at training, I ask anyone who comes with me and does the booking boot camp, every month they get to stand up at training and they get to tell everybody how many shows they had beforehand, and usually it's 1 or 0, and they tell everybody how many bookings they now have. And it's really gotten a huge response, and I do it one-on-one, and I do have a group one scheduled in July at my house. So if you don't have bookings, this is something that if you'll follow it, it works. And if you have lots of bookings but you have a downline and you just really don't know how to help them, I really pray that this helps you the way it's helped me, because it's worked every single time, and I guarantee them at least one booking. So the first thing that I do with my booking boot camp is I meet with them and I talk to them a little bit about how much money that they would like to make per week. Not per month, but I'll say, how much would you like to make per week? Because if their number is $200 per week, then I need to make sure that they understand that they need to be doing 1 show per week, and we're going to overbook by a couple shows for that month. So I want to set them up with the right expectations. If they tell me they want to make $400 a week, well, we figure out, you know what, you need to do 2 shows. So step 1 is we just figure out how much money they want to make per week, not per month. The second thing that I do is we get up in their calendar and we highlight the days that they can do shows, because most of them will say, I'm so busy, I've got X, Y, and Z going on, and I totally understand that, but let's find out what you can do. So we go ahead and we highlight dates for 8 weeks out. So every date that they could possibly do a show, we highlight for 8 weeks out. And then I just explain to them, listen, we're going to work your calendar the way a doctor's office works. You're not going to get on the phone and say, great, when could you do a show? You're going to say, great, I need 2 people this first week of June. Could you look at June 3rd or Thursday, June 5th? And we're going to narrow it down to your first 2 dates each time. We're not going to make it look like you have a whole bunch of dates open, but we're going to ask them to look at 2 specific dates. So when they call a doctor's office, I tell them, you know what, when you call the doctor, they don't say, when can you come in? Because you would have to look at your calendar. You would have to check it. And if people have to check their calendar and call you back, you're going to miss the opportunity. You did the work, but you're going to miss the opportunity to get the date scheduled. So I talk to them about how we're going to schedule. The second thing that I do after we've discussed marking their dates and how we're going to schedule and start with the first 2 dates they have available is I tell them, look, before we get on the phone, it's really important that you know what you're going to say. I love Penny Lacey's sheet on her verbiage on how to get bookings, and I think Diana's emailed that out to everybody. I know that we use it for new jewelers, but I just alter it just a little bit for a seasoned jeweler, not an old jeweler. So what I tell them is we're going to say, look, we're going to keep most of Penny Lacey's verbiage the same, but instead of saying I'm starting a new premier business, you're just going to let them know that you're restarting your premier business. But before you do that, we've got to figure out your why. Why do you need Premier? Why do you need the money? Why do you want to do shows? And sometimes they really have to think about it, but this is a really important part of the process. So before you get on the phone and you're going to call and ask for that favor, you need to figure out your why. And I give them an example of a story because this is a totally true story. I have 2 friends that do Mary Kay. I can't get them in Premier, but anyway, 2 friends that do Mary Kay. One of my friends came to me and brought me some Mary Kay, and she gave me a referral card, and it had a place for 3 names on the back. And she said, Kim, if you'll fill out 3 names of people that you could refer to me, I will be more than happy to give you a tube of lipstick. You can just take your pick. And I thought, oh, cool, great, okay. I've been buying Mary Kay from her for years, and I took the referral card and set it on my desk, and then I moved it to my purse. And every time I looked at that referral card, I thought, oh, I need to fill this out and give it back to Debbie. I have another friend who sells Mary Kay, and I ran into her probably about a month after I had got my Mary Kay from Debbie, And I said, hey, Tracy, how are you doing? How's business? And she said, actually, I really need a favor. And I was like, oh, please don't ask me to do a skincare class. Please don't ask me to do a skincare class. And she said, I am really having a hard time finding people who don't already have a Mary Kay rep. Well, I could relate to that. I understand. She said, I know you know a lot of people. Do you think you could send something out, maybe in an email or whatever, and just ask if there's anybody out there that doesn't have a Mary Kay rep that might be interested in letting me send them some information? I said, sure. Send me an email with your stuff on it. I'll forward it out, and I'll let my girls know. So I did that. I forwarded it out. She had 11 people respond to her that they would like to purchase Mary Kay from her. About a week later, she came to my house, rang my doorbell, and she brought me a surprise with about $30, $40 worth of Mary Kay products. And she said, Kim, thank you so much. She said, you know what? I really needed that. She said, you gave me 11 referrals, which I had no idea. And I said, well, that's awesome, Tracy. I want you to know that it wasn't that I didn't like Debbie as much as Tracy, but Debbie didn't ask me for the favor and tell me why she needed it. Tracy did. She said, Kim, I need a favor. I'm just really having a hard time finding people that don't already have a Mary Kay rep. So I could relate to that, and I was willing to help her. One of my girls that we just did this booking boot camp, she came to my house, and I said, Christina, tell me why you need to do this business. And she said, well, my husband just got out of the Army, and he's not employed yet, so we're just on my income. And I said, great, that's what we're going to tell people. And she goes, no, I don't want to tell people that. I said, well, we're going to do it in a positive way. So her why was when she called people to ask for the favor, she said, thank goodness my husband made it home safely from Iraq and Afghanistan. He's home, and we are so excited. But we're only on one income right now, and I'm really trying to restart my premier business. Could you help me out? And I thought, I can't believe she didn't want to tell people that. Every single person that she spoke with was a yes. We didn't even get to go to plan B. So before you start this verbiage, you've got to know what your reason why is, because that's really big when you're asking for the favor. So Penny Lacey's verbiage sheet, if you open it up, it says, I'm going to use Diane as my contact. It says, hey, Diane, it's Kim. I hope I'm not catching it at a bad time. Look, I'm not going to keep you but just a minute, but I have a huge favor to ask you, Diane. I really need your help. I'm trying to restart my premier business again because we just need some extra money for some stuff with the kids this summer, and I was hoping that you might be able to help me out. All I need is 2 friends to help me get restarted, and let me come over and set my jewelry up, and you just invite a few ladies over and let me bring my jewelry over to the house. I can give you free jewelry for helping me out, and it's really not going to be a big deal. What do you think? And you know what? Most of the time, before they could even get to the what do you think, they're like, sure. And I thought, oh, that was way easier than I thought. But you've got to ask for the favor, and you've got to let them know that you just need 2 friends. And as soon as they say, great, well, let me check my calendar, the next thing that you're going to say is, awesome, could you check these 2 dates? These are the first 2 dates that I'm trying to fill. And it would be June 23rd or Thursday, June 25th. And they might say, you know what, Tuesdays don't work well for me because that's my daughter's gymnastics day. Great, can I pencil you in for Thursday? And then you look at your calendar, and if it doesn't work for you, call me back because we can totally change it. And every single one of these girls were getting dates on their calendar, and they were so excited. So who do they call? Because if you've got the verbiage down and we would role play it and practice it, and they're like, great, I don't have a list. What do I do? And I was like, great, can you hand me your cell phone? Because if you keep calling the same people that keep telling you no, you're going to keep probably getting the same answers, and there's nothing more frustrating than getting a whole bunch of no's when you call people. So what I do is I have them hand over their cell phone, and I start with the A's in their address book, because there are tons of people in their cell phones that they never think about. These may be people that they just know from church. It may be old school friends, old work friends they haven't seen in 6 months to a year. But there are people in their cell phone that they know. So we go through their cell phone and we start with the A's. And I'll say, okay, you're allowed to say no to some people because there are some people in my cell phone that I will never, ever, ever ask to do a show. For instance, my husband's ex-wife is in my cell phone. And I would just say no. You do not have to explain to me why, but you're not allowed to say no more than 10 or 15 times because you can't have 10 or 15 ex-wives in your cell phone. So I start with the A's, and I say, okay, who is Amy Blackwell? And they say, oh, she's a friend that I used to work with. I haven't talked to her in about a year. And I'll say, great, just write her name down. And we just go through, and we just make a list from A to Z of anybody that is in their cell phone that they could asked to do a show. And then after we practice the verbiage again of what they're going to say and they've got their calendar set up, I say, okay, before we make a call, we've got to have a plan B and a plan C. So plan B is we need to go ahead and set up a mystery hostess show because there are going to be some people that just do not do shows and they're going to tell you no. So we need to set it up close because if you set it up far away, they're going to forget about it. And if you're going to have them on the phone, you want to go ahead and give them a personal invitation to your mystery hostess show so that you're going to get more people to attend. You don't want to call them back later and invite them to a mystery hostess show because then you just look desperate. So we're going to go ahead if somebody says no, and we're going to invite them to your mystery hostess show. So let's go ahead and set that up. So we set up the mystery hostess show for 10 to 14 days out, and then I let them know. If they say no, you are without going to not even bat an eyelash and go, you know what, Diane, I totally understand. That's totally fine. But there's another way you could really help me out. I'm doing a mystery hostess show at my house on blah, blah, blah date, and I would really appreciate it if you could come and maybe bring a friend or two with you. Because if you brought your mom or sister or best friend or neighbor or whoever, that would bring new contacts to me for my business. What do you think? And if she says, oh, yeah, I think that'd be fine. I'll bring my mom and my sister. Great. I tell you what, I'll get an invitation to you in your email in a couple of days. Can I just verify your email address? And we're going to go ahead and verify their email address, and we're going to start your list. Because remember, when people come to my house to do this, they haven't set up a mystery hostess show, so they don't even have an invitation ready yet. But we go ahead and we don't even explain totally what the mystery hostess is other than you're going to be giving away the free jewelry and they're going to get extra tickets for bringing guests, and that's the way it would help you out. So first of all, a personal invitation we know as Jewelry Ladies is the best invitation. But also we know that if people can bring somebody with them that they know, they're more likely to come, because they're not going to come to something if they're afraid that they're not going to know anybody there. So we want to really encourage them. Not only are we inviting you to our mystery hostess, but it would really help me out if you could bring somebody. One of my jewelers had a friend in real estate, and she called her and asked her to do a show, and she flat out shot her down before she could even get it out of her mouth. And she said, no, I don't do shows. And she said, well, that's okay. She said, I'm actually having a mystery hostess show on such and such date. Do you think you could help me out by coming and maybe bringing some people with you that you know? And she said, absolutely. I'll invite all the girls from the office. This agent brought 7 people with her to the mystery hostess show, and this girl's mystery hostess show was over $1,000, and she got 6 bookings. I was so excited. So the mystery hostess show is their plan B, because some people are just not going to want to do shows. And so we're going to go ahead and let them know that there's another way that they can help them out because we're having a mystery hostess show. Now, if the person says, you know what, I'm going to be out of town that date or whatever, I've got my son's graduation that date or whatever's going on that they cannot come to the mystery hostess, we're going to have plan C. You're going to say, you know what, that's okay. There's actually one more way that you might be able to help me out. Could I just pop a catalog in the mail to you and see if you can pass it around? If there's any interest and you get up an order, I can actually give you free jewelry. But if you find somebody that really likes the jewelry, anybody that you would refer to me, I would love to give you free jewelry for helping me out with referrals. That's another way that you could really help me out, is just set that catalog out maybe at your work or with your family and friends and just see if there's any interest. Either in ordering or in having me over and letting me come set my jewelry up. I try to totally get their mindset off of the idea of using the word show. When they're on the phone, I don't want them to say show. I just want them to say, Elizabeth Draper taught me just to say, no big deal. Just let me come over and set my jewelry up and invite a few girlfriends over. It just sounds so easy, and it just sounds, oh, yeah, I can do that. I mean, that seems easy enough. When you hostess coach them, you can teach them all the other things. But when you're calling someone on the phone, you are asking for a favor. No matter how good the next promotion is, no matter how awesome our jewelry is, no matter how awesome the new catalog is, when you have to pick up the phone and call somebody, you are needing a favor. Because you wouldn't pick up the phone and call people if you didn't need a show. So if you pick up the phone, you're needing a favor. You've got to tell them your reason why. You've got to have your calendar already marked and ready to go, and you've got to work it like a doctor's office. And you've got to say, listen, these are the first 2 days I'm trying to fill. When you check your schedule, could you look at these 2 days? If they say, oh, yeah, Tuesdays don't work as good. Let's do a Thursday. Great. Can I go ahead and pencil you in? And if that date doesn't work for you, you can just call me back. Let me know. We'll move it to another day. We'll find another Thursday. but they're actually getting the date on their calendar 99% of the time while they're on the phone right then and there. And then anybody who is a no, I just don't do home shows, I'm sorry, they're inviting to their mystery hostess show and telling them they can help them by bringing people. So they're having more success with the mystery hostess show than ever before. And then I've only gotten to Plan C with the catalog twice. With every single person that we've done this with, we've only had to go to Plan C a couple of times. So hopefully you won't even have to get to Plan C, but you need to have a Plan A, a Plan B, and a Plan C. So that catalog and referral kind of goes together. And the mystery hostess, if they're not a new jeweler, is the Plan B. So that's kind of how we get them started. They get bookings. It works. The verbiage that Penny Lacey has gone over is incredible. I told her when we were at the Four Diamond Retreat last week, I said, I've altered it for my jewelers who are seasoned. And she said, Kim, could you please email me and send that to me because that is incredible. I love that you've taken that and done something new with it. And I said, yeah, because, we have a lot of new jewelers that are excited and they get that enthusiasm and momentum and get it going. But then we have some seasoned jewelers that, haven't done anything in a long time, and they feel really frustrated and stuck because they've called the same people over and over again, and they just don't know what else to do. So this is really using their cell phone is getting them out of that. So I encourage you, if you have a jeweler that doesn't have any bookings, get inside her cell phone. There are tons of contacts that she may not want to call, but they're in her cell phone. She knows them. Now, the last thing I'm going to say that's really important is that you're going to leave messages, and it's really important that the verbiage for the message be exactly what I'm going to tell you. When they are leaving a message, they are not allowed to say with Premier Designs. Okay? If the person is in their cell phone, they know them. So they're going to leave the message, hey, Diane, it's Kim Adams. Hey, listen, I was just calling you. I needed to ask you a quick favor. When you get a chance, give me a call, 996-0227. It's no big deal, just a really quick favor when you get a chance. All right, thanks a lot. And they hang up. And the reason that's important is because if I say, hey, Diane, it's Kim Adams with Premier Designs Jewelry. Listen, I was calling to ask you for a quick favor. They already know the favor because you told them with Premier Designs Jewelry. And if the people are in their cell phones, you don't need to say with Premier Designs Jewelry because they're in their cell phone. They know them to some level. So I tell them it's really important that you just leave the message, I'm calling to ask a quick favor. Most women are very curious, and they're thinking, I wonder what she needs. I wonder what kind of favor I can do for her. And they will literally, within anywhere from 15 to about 45 minutes, their phone will be blowing up with return calls and text messages. And I tell them, look, when they text you, you can't say what your favor is in a text. You just tell them, listen, when you get a chance, give me a call, not a big deal. It drives the person crazy. And we laugh about it while we're doing this booking boot camp because people will start texting, I'm watching the CMA Awards. What do you need? It's nothing. It's no big deal. I just need to talk to you and ask you a favor. Well, tell me what it is. I'm watching TV. And they'll say, it's okay. Just when you finish, give me a call. And literally as soon as the next commercial comes on, they'll give that person a call, and they'll say, what do you need? And they'll say, I just need a huge favor. I'm trying to get my business restarted because, and the next thing you know, they're like, oh, yeah, I can do that. So if they're going to leave a message, the message just needs to be, it's a quick favor, just give me a call when you get a chance, and leave the phone number in case the cell phone number doesn't pick up on their phone. So that's how you get them started with bookings, and I always guarantee them one booking because I've got a mystery hostess show scheduled on their calendar, and if there's any way possible, I'm going to schedule that on a date that I can be there with them because if they need to get their business restarted, I want to be able to be at that show and help them talk to people around the table and be able to help them get more bookings. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is once they have some bookings is you've got to help them maximize, or you've got to maximize your bookings. And one of my designers was one of my top retailers, one of my top sponsors for like 6 months in a row. And she had really come off of a slow period for the 6 months previous. And I called her at about month 4, and I said, Amanda, what are you doing? I said, you were just rocking, girl. I cannot get over it. You're sponsoring, you're retailing high. I mean, tell me what you're doing. I want you to share at training. And she goes, well, I've started mailing out invitations for my hostesses, and that's really helped a lot because when they give me a guest list now, I'm mailing these out. And, of course, if there's an invitation gone out, I know that they're going to have a hard time canceling because they have to call a lot of people. And she said, the other thing I'm doing is a hostess tic-tac-toe sheet. And I said, really? Can you send that to me? Where did you get it? And she smiled and she said, off of your website. And I thought, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe I've got something on my website I don't know about. So I revamped the Hostess Tic-Tac-Toe, but 13 years ago when I started in Premier, we had a tic-tac-toe sheet that we used, and if the hostess got one tic-tac-toe, we gave her $10 additional free, 2 was 15, 3 was 25, and it worked incredibly. But you just kind of hear about the newest, latest, and greatest thing, and you kind of get away from something, and then it gets filed away, and you just forget about it. And I had just forgotten about it, and I said, well, tell me a little bit about what you're doing with it. And she said, well, I actually use it to hostess coach. And I thought, this is brilliant. So I started doing it, and I'm going to tell you that my business has skyrocketed, especially with bookings, and people will have this tic-tac-toe sheet. My hostesses have it on their coffee table, their bar, their kitchen table. Sometimes they'll greet me at the door, and they'll be holding it and say, I have my tic-tac-toe sheet. So what I do is I put this tic-tac-toe sheet in their hostess package, and I have everything in their package that I normally put in there, and I just let them know, first of all, everything on this envelope is everything you need to know about your show. But I really want to focus on this tic-tac-toe sheet because this is going to help you with all your bonuses that Premier gives you. So I go ahead on the front of their hostess package and review their 4 $25 bonuses, and I'll say, but I have a fun extra way for you to get free jewelry. I pull out their hostess tic-tac-toe sheet, and I'll say, listen, you're going to have a chance to get an extra $25 in free jewelry plus these bonuses plus the 30% plus your half-price items. And when I open up that tic-tac-toe sheet, you have to go over it with them. The first one I go to is the middle square, and it says hold your original date scheduled. And I'll say, okay, we have you set for July 3rd. Is this date still going to work for you? And they say yes. And I physically take a pen or pencil, and I mark out the middle square. And I'll say, great. We've already got the middle square mark. This one's done. Now, personally invite everyone on your list. You know what? I tell them about PhoneVite, and if they want me to personally invite everyone on their list, I will go into PhoneVite, and they'll give me the phone numbers, and I will personally send a message recording. I don't have to talk to all these people. I personally key in all the phone numbers, and I will send them a personal invitation to come to Diane's jewelry show on July 3rd, whatever that date is. But that would count for them if they want to do it or if I'm going to do it. But I talk to them about personally inviting people and how they'll get more attendance that way. And then I go up to the top and I'll say, listen, home show sales of $400 or more, this is our average show. I know we can do even more than this, but you know what? That means we're going to have an average of 5 to 8 guests at your show, and you're going to have a little bit of pre-sales because we're going to really make sure that you have this one. This one's a gimme, okay? So now let's go over to 10 adult guests in attendance. Well, you know what? To get that one, you're going to need to invite probably between 30 and 40 people because 1 in 4 or 1 in 3 are going to be able to make it and the rest aren't. But that's good because if you look over diagonally down here at the bottom, it says have $100 in advanced orders before the show. Well, you know what? If you've got 30, 40 people invited, all we need are 4 people to place a $25 order. So if everybody that can't make it, can you get the catalog to 4 or 5 people and have them look at it and see if they can place a $25 order for your show? And they say yes. And I say, great. So I want you to start working on your addresses. Anybody who is a yes or a maybe to come into your show, I want you to send me their name and their address so I can send them an invitation. And I move over to the one that says send addresses to me by. If I'm hostess coaching her on Wednesday, I give her 48 hours. I want it to be a short amount of time because I want her to have a task to do right now. And I'll say, today's Wednesday, do you think you could get that to me by Friday? And she may say, you know what, I'm in staff meetings all day Friday. Can I send it to you Monday? And I'll say, absolutely. Whatever day she gives me very close in, I'm going to physically write in on that square. And I'll say, great, you know what, you just email that to me by Monday, and you can go ahead and mark that one off too. Okay, so we are really knocking this tic-tac-toe out. Now, if you come up one, it says have 1 booking waiting on me. Now, you're going to get credit from Premier for 3 bookings, which is $25. But is there one girlfriend that you could ask in advance to help you out and be your show waiting for me? And she'll usually go, yeah, I'm sure I can. And I'll say, great. Who's the girlfriend you have in mind? And she might say, probably my friend Sandy. And I physically write Sandy's name down in that square. And I'll say, great, just call Sandy and see if she'll be your 1 booking, and you can go ahead and mark this one off. I'm physically going through this sheet with them. And then I'll say, okay, this is easy. Complete your wish list before the show. Girl, my average hostess is getting $250 to $300 in free jewelry last year. I need you to go ahead and make a wish list of about $300. You show me your wish list when I walk in the door. You already marked this one off. So that's easy. So if I get your addresses by Monday, you've held your show on the original date, and you go ahead and start looking in that catalog and put down your wish list, you've already got one tic-tac-toe. This is so easy. This is awesome. Now, the last one that it says on here is it says schedule a time to hear about the Premier Business. I'm sitting right here with you right now. Do you think you could give me about 15 minutes and just let me share with you how my business works? And I'm going to tell you that 9 times out of 10, they say yes because they want to go ahead and mark that one off. And if they do, then I go ahead and I open up my flip chart and I go ahead and go through the marketing plan in about 15 minutes. And if they are going to call Sandy to get a booking, I'll go, look, you've already got 2 tic-tac-toes. This is awesome. You only got to get one more, and you've got 25 additional free jewelry. They love this sheet, but you have to put the focus on the hostess tic-tac-toe. 90, well, I'd say 80%, because some of my hostesses are, they don't even look at the tic-tac-toe no matter what I do to go over it. But I would say probably 8 out of 10 of my hostesses have one booking waiting for me before the show. And it's so much easier if that person actually shows up to the show, because I'll say, is this person going to be here tonight? And she'll say yes. So, of course, when I start my booking activity, I start with the one person who was the booking before the show, because if I get my yes, then it's a lot easier to get more yeses. So this tic-tac-toe sheet is awesome. It's really helped me. I can't believe it was on my website the whole time, and I had no idea because I'd just forgotten about it. I'd been in Premier a long time and just literally forgotten about it. I really stress to my girls, you've got to use this tic-tac-toe sheet because 70% of the success of our shows has nothing to do with how great our presentation is. It has to do with what our hostess and prepares. So I let them know that, look, hope is not a strategy. You have got to have a plan. So once you have some shows booked, you've got to your time with your hostess, and you've got to make it fun, and you've got to really give her a checklist. And this hostess tic-tac-toe is really all the things that Premier, it's all the bonuses. It's their booking bonus, it's their 10 adult guests, their $100 in pre-sales, and holding their show on the original date. And her having that one show waiting for me is just such an awesome feeling, because when I ask her a couple of days before her show, well, how's your tic-tac-toe sheet looking? She goes, well, what do you give me if I get 4 tic-tac-toes? I'm like, you know what? We'll figure that out. I'll give you free shipping and handling. We'll give you something extra, because they actually get more than 3 tic-tac-toes in most cases. And I love it. They have the whole sheet filled out. It's a checklist for them, and it's simple and it's easy. So that is what you do whenever you have hostesses that you need to maximize. The next step that I have is at the show. I talk to the girls that I'm trying to get restarted about, you've got to create a need for the jewelry. People have got to see, wow, there's a lot of things I can do with it. And Jane Francis, she came to the Drapers Retreat in March, and she showed the collection. And I think I sent that to Diane, and she probably has sent that out. But I explained to them, let's practice the collection, because it's about 9 pieces of jewelry. But the powerful thing about this collection is, of course, you have your hostess reading what needs to be changed up on the mannequin or on the person that you're using with this collection. And as she's reading it, it's so stinking simple, but it's layering jewelry. The combinations are beautiful. I get to say things like, ladies, every single piece that I'm showing tonight comes in our President's package. So when you become a jewelry lady, all of these pieces are already in your collection. I let them know that they can create their own collection, but when I'm finished showing the collection, which takes very little time, I literally say, okay, can you just hold your hands out for me, because I want to show you how Premier's Hostess Plan works. And when I do the $25 and all the bonuses, I'm putting a piece of jewelry in their hands. It's draping the jewelry. But when I finish the 30%, I don't even have jewelry left for the 4 to 8 half-price items, because there's only 9 pieces in the collection, and I just give them the 4 pieces for bonuses and tell them the average hostess gets about 5 pieces free. And I drape the next 5 pieces over, and I'm like, ladies, this entire collection could be yours, or you can create your own collection of about the same amount of jewelry. And if this isn't enough, you get 4 to 8 items at 50% off, and anything you do half price adds into your sales, and you get more free jewelry. It's incredible. And then I go into my 3 Fridas. the free to buy, the free to shop, and the free to make the bucks because, again, I have somebody else sharing it, and I'm just kind of standing back. It's a really simple show. I think Jane Francis is a genius because when I saw this, I thought this is so easy for my new jewelers, but it's also a great format for a jeweler who hasn't done a show in a while and is really nervous about having to talk in front of people again because it takes that off the table and she doesn't have to talk as much. She gets somebody else to read it, somebody else presents it. She just really has to guide the show. So when you create that need with the collection, it's really super short. You have plenty of time to get to the table and change your jewelry up and show a lot more jewelry combinations around the table and build relationships with those ladies at your show. So the more jewelry you can get them putting on because you have more time at your show, the more likely you are to create a need for them to want to do a show if they said pass or no deal at your booking activity. So once you are at the show, then you want to create the need for the jewelry, and you want to make the most of your shopping time and checkout time and being able to talk to them and build relationships and ask each one of them. I had so much fun tonight. I would love to do a jewelry show for you and create your own collection. And the collection is in a Word format, so I know the gold infusion is being taken out because it's going to retire, but you can substitute it with another piece that comes in the President's package. And this is just a great, I love doing this collection at my shows, and people don't get tired of seeing it. So it makes your show short, gives you more time to spend with your customers, gives you more shopping time, and gives you more one-on-one time at checkout to get more bookings. So when I train the booking boot camp, we literally go through these whole processes, and we role play everything. And if at all possible, I try to make sure that I get them to book that mystery hostess show so that I can be there and I can make sure that this goes over really well. Okay, I think that's all about Booking Boot Camp. Diane, is there anything else that I'm supposed to share? Because that was a lot of talking.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Just any other tips for success, anything that's worked really well for you, and if anybody has to jump off, they can. But I just think this is awesome, Kim, and I just think if people take some of this stuff and use it, they can totally change their business and their downline's business. So if there's any other thing that you want to share that you're doing or that you've heard.
I think the only other thing that I can honestly tell you that has been huge is obviously Penny Lacey talks about a recipe for success and putting together a new jeweler folder. And I always put together a new jeweler folder with the how to get booking sheet, getting the 6 to 9 shows on their calendar. The biggest I'm going to say the biggest change that I know that my designers and my builders have seen is when they're sponsoring people and they're really going through that folder, they're getting them to call after the first 10 shows and offering them an incentive for that has been huge because one of the biggest complaints I used to have out of my girls is they don't call me back. They don't call me. I'm always having to call them. And when you're getting those jewelers in the habit of calling you for those first 10 home shows, they don't do any different afterwards. They keep calling you, and it keeps that relationship going. And I've really learned the power of relationships in this business is incredible if you really want to build and grow. I talk to my designers on a daily, sometimes weekly, but sometimes daily basis. That has been huge. The sharing the business with 9 people has been really big, and I've been putting the 3 guinea pig sheet in there and asking every new jeweler to ask 3 people to let us share the business with them. And the last 4 jewelers that I've personally sponsored, we did the 3 guinea pigs with, and every single one of them have signed someone at their training show. So it's been incredible, just using the folder and the system. The other thing that we've done is I want to say Adrienne Dawes did a conference call that I was on, and she started doing a new sponsor orientation on the same night of new jeweler orientation, and I can email you that. But it is incredible, and so what we do now is when we do our new jeweler orientation, I have one of my leaders that may do new jeweler orientation, and then we have new sponsor orientation that I may be doing upstairs in my house with the new sponsors, just teaching them what to do and how important it is the first 90 days because we were losing a lot of people and a lot of activity in our second and third level, and Ray and I could not figure out why. We're like, our first levels are totally getting it, and they're staying longer, and they're retailing more, and they're sponsoring more. And we have 6 first-level designers, and we're like, we want some second and third-level designers. You know, we wanted to get people in our second and third level building the way our first level was, and doing that new sponsor orientation has really helped, because we learned that a lot of our jewelers were just bringing people to new jeweler orientation and then sending them kind of out on their own. And so this new sponsor orientation has really helped, along with the new jeweler folder. And if you want me to send, I just literally took what Adrienne Dawes did and I changed it to my information.
Awesome.
So anybody
I'll
can
definitely
change it.
get you to do that. And also exactly what you put in the new jeweler package. But
I'll do that
email
too.
you, get you to email that out. And if anybody's on the call and they did not get the forms, if they'll email me, I'll send them out to everybody.
Yeah, I love the Hostess Tic-Tac-Toe. Diane and I talked about it, and she said that you used it years ago too.
Crazy. I think it was 20 years ago. I think it was in my forms that Elizabeth gave me when I got into Premier.
Just one of those things you get away from, but I put the focus back on it, and it's great, because I had kind of sponsored out of my warm market. So it's been great, because my hostesses are having that one booking waiting for me, and when you don't have the pressure to get bookings and you want to, it seems like I'm getting 3 and 4 bookings at every show now.
Does anybody have any questions for her before we let Kim go?
I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Kim, it's Stephanie. When I was listening earlier, you said that you had a phone invite that you do, that you put in phone numbers and it calls everybody. What exactly is that?
It's you can go.
I can't hear.
Okay, I'm going to mute everybody back and let her answer the question, okay?
Okay. Okay, it is a website that I use. It's called www.phone, Vite, V-I-T-E, one word, .com. And it's like $9.80 to set it up, but you can set up as many phone numbers as you want, and I am not a techno person, okay? So if I can do it, anybody can do it. But you literally go in and you set up the phone numbers and the names of the people that you want it to go out to. I have not figured out how to do it from the web. You can do it from the web. You don't have to pick up a phone, but you can call into a number, and it gives you the prompts, and it says press 1 to record, and I record my message, and then it says press pound to listen, press 2 to delete, press 3 to send. Well, when I press 3 to send, or whatever the prompt is to send it, it sends it to all the names and phone numbers that I put in. And it's just a recorded message, and I've actually got the verbiage typed up, because I give my girls the verbiage to leave for messages to make reminder calls for their hostesses, messages to leave for their hostesses for people who didn't make the show, that you can send a catalog out to them, or if they would like to do a show and get free jewelry. And then I have verbiage for the message that I leave to personally invite people to the show. And I'm actually writing this down right now. I will email that to Diane so that she can email that out to you. But PhoneVite is great, because as soon as you send it, if somebody doesn't answer their phone, it leaves it on their machine or their voicemail. And if they pick up the phone, a lot of times they'll tell you later, they're like, I tried to talk to you. I kept saying, oh, that sounds great. I know you from so-and-so show. And it wasn't you. It was a recording. So it's very personal, but it keeps me from having to make 20 phone calls to do reminder calls for my hostess, or 20 personal invitation calls for my hostess. I can just literally do one message, and it sends it out to everybody, and it only costs a nickel every time it sends it out. So it's not a nickel per call, it's not a nickel per person. It's a nickel per call. So it's incredible.
Wow.
It's going to take me forever to get through $10.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, send all that to me, and I'll send it out to everybody.
Okay.
And you're doing that when you make reminder calls for your hostesses. And do you ever
Yes.
do it like to remind people for training or
Yes.
something?
In fact, I
That'd be
do
great.
it for my first levels every month. I send a phone invite out, and they all laugh, because they always try to talk to me. They're like, I try to go, Kim, 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 Kim. And they've now figured out that it is PhoneVite. It is not me. But they all try to, and it's great, because they all laugh about it and say, and you just kept talking. And I'm like, yes, I did, because it's a message. But, yes, I use it for a lot. It's been a great tool for my business.
That's exciting. I'm going to do that, man. Okay, anybody have another question real quick before we let Kim go? You can just hit *6 to unmute yourself, and then all the other background noise will stay muted if anybody has a question.
This is Patty Cole. I work with Tracy Sima. I'm new in Pennsylvania. Could I have either Diane's or Kim's email address? I would really like to get the tic-tac-toe thing and any other forms you were talking about in your email.
Sure. My email address, sent to me to just give Kim a little bit of break, it's Premier Diane, PremierDianne @yahoo.com. And if there's anybody on the call that didn't get the forms, if you'll just email me, I'll get them to you.
Thank you.
And I will email you what goes in my new jeweler folder, and I'll email you the new sponsor orientation that I use, and I'll email you the phone bite verbiage for all of those, because I have really taken what Penny Lacey has said and run with it, that if I give my jewelers a recipe and they know exactly what to say, they'll do it. So I literally have everything typed up and written out for them to use when they do that. So I'll make sure I get that to you as soon as we hang up.
Yay. Kim, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Diane. I appreciate you. I'm so excited that you let me do this. I hope it helps somebody. I hope somebody will use it, because it's definitely helped us with jewelers get their business restarted, and it's just been incredible. We've got a new excitement, and every month at training when they stand up and they share how many bookings they got, we just get more and more people wanting to come now. So this summer I'm having fun, because I just keep booking hour to hour and a half slots, and people are just coming over, and we're filling their calendar, and our commission checks are reflecting it. So it's been very good.
Yay.
Well,
one of the things she said that helped me, that's helped our business so much, is that we try to stay in touch with our people, especially our leadership, which you said you do.
Mm-hmm.
And to sponsor somebody from every training show. If you can start a new jeweler off with somebody under them, that's just huge. So, that's really worked for us. Sure, go ahead.
What was the 3 Fridas? Free to shop?
There's free to buy and free to shop, and then there's free to make the bucks. And if you
go to the Draper download, go to the Draper website, you can watch the whole training. It's a Elizabeth Draper show. And just go to the Draper website and click on Simple Show, and you can just watch the whole thing, verbiage and everything.
Yeah, it's awesome. I would love to tell you guys that I created all this stuff, but I pretty much stole it from everybody. The only idea that was originally mine was going through the cell phone, because I was just having such low attendance at bookathons, and it was because people didn't want to make a list because they were tired of calling the same people.
What is the Draper website?
Let's see. Wait a minute. Let me tell y'all. Let me give y'all a little tip. I go to GailFoster.com, password Gail Foster, and if on the left-hand side it says favorite websites, and it's every website. The Drapers, the Terrells, Ramona Solomon, every website you'd ever want is right there. And so I just always go to Gail's and then click on whichever one I want.
Okay.
So, and it's got the password and the user code and everything. I think it's
the username is.
But that's how I find all the websites. If you just go to GailFoster.com.
Okay.
And the password's Gail Foster.
Okay.
Yeah, I've actually got them linked on my website as well. So I guess because I just click on it all the time and I don't actually have to type it in anymore. It sounds
I
really
do the same
bad.
thing. I just click on it. What's your website, Kim? Is it on Gail's?
I don't know if it is or not. It's www.gotjwlry.com. And anybody can put their username. Here it is. Oops, wait a minute, go back. www.gotjewelry, but there's no E's in jewelry, so GOTJWLRY.com. And if you don't want to register on my website, if you just don't want to get the e-alerts or whatever we send out, you can type in the username of Bling and the password Bling.
Great.
Yeah, I've got
I have
Reading
a quick
Elizabeth.
question.
Yes.
This is Susan Lesiak from Chicago, and first of all, I love the booking boot camp information that you gave us. I'm going to put this into practice with my people right away and myself too. Are you finding that it's more effective to do individually with someone, or have you done it as a group too, and which do you prefer?
I've done it as a group and I've done it individually, and I prefer any way I can get somebody to my house. So I am doing a booking boot camp at my jewelers nicknamed it Booking Boot Camp, so I didn't intend to start it that way. But they said that because they knew they had to make calls in front of me, and that was intimidating. But I do let them choose before they make their calls on their list. I ask them to star 10 names of people that they feel comfortable calling in front of me. And I have to listen to the verbiage. So I like it one-on-one, but I use it both ways. But some people prefer one-on-one time, and some people prefer group time. Some people like to be part of the party. I'm life of the party. I like to do group stuff, but I have a lot of jewelers that don't. And so by offering both, those jewelers who just want me one-on-one can come over to my house for an hour and a half. And that's the key if you're a leader. I'm not driving all over Timbuktu and going to their homes. They're coming to my house, and they're spending an hour and a half with me. And I like the one-on-one time because I do get to know them a little bit better. I do get to goal set a little bit more with them. And sometimes I find that I have more stars in my downline than I actually knew I had. Based on knowing their needs. But I love to do group stuff and small group trainings, and so I think that however they prefer it, you just got to offer it both ways.
Great. Thank you so much.
And they're both equally effective, because when I've done it in a group setting, as soon as other people start to hear other people on the phone getting those bookings and using that verbiage, they get excited, and they're like, well, I don't want to be the only one who doesn't get any bookings, and they pound the phone, they make more calls. And I started scheduling individual time in hour slots, but you really need about an hour and a half, because once they get the bookings, they start getting so excited, they'll actually go back through their cell phone and they'll find more people to call. And they don't want to stop calling. They want to sit right there and keep doing it because they've got the momentum going. They don't want to have to get in their car and wait till they get home. So you should, if you schedule it individually, schedule an hour and a half.
Okay. Great.
I hope that helps.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Anybody else?
This is Lynn in Tennessee. Could you please give your website again?
Yeah, it's www.g as in girl, O-T, JWLRY.com.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Hey, I'll put that on the email, and anything else you can think of, just email me, and we'll get an answer from Kim. Kim, we're not going to take the whole rest of your day.
No, you're fine. I enjoyed it. Thank you. And if anybody has any success